On today's show, Steph Curry with an all-time NBA playoff performance. 50 points, a new personal playoff best for Steph Curry and the most points ever scored in a Game 7 to propel the Warriors past the Sacramento Kings. Was Kevon Looney the secret MVP of this series for Golden State? And we've got Steph Curry and LeBron James headed for Part 5 of their matchup. How should Warriors fans feel about a rematch with the King here in Round 2? It's all coming up here, Locked On NBA.
You are Locked On NBA, your daily NBA podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up and welcome to another edition of Locked On NBA, the biggest stories with the local experts. I'm your host, Jackson Gatlin, also host of Locked On Rockets right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Now, today's episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. Next game, how about Nikola Jokic to score more than 26.5 points? What about LeBron James to have more than 7.5 rebounds? Or how about Kevin Durant to have less than 6.5 assists? And maybe Steph Curry to have more than 3.5 three-pointers made. So what is Prize Picks? It's daily fantasy sports, but how does it work? Basically, you pick 2 to 6 players, and if they score more or less than their Prize Picks projection, you can win up to 25 times back on your money on any entry that you submit. There's no competing against other people. It's just you versus the projections available. Prize Picks offers projections on any sport that you watch. That's NBA, NFL, MLB, NHL, PGA. They've got you covered for all the action. Entries can be made in 60 seconds or less. It's that simple. They're safe. They offer fast withdrawals. Currently operational in over 30 states and Canada. And now, every day of the NBA playoffs, one PrizePicks user will win a chance of becoming a millionaire. Full details can be found at prizepicks.com/million. So download the PrizePicks app or go to prizepicks.com to sign up and play daily fantasy sports. First-time users can receive a 100% instant deposit match up to $100 with promo code LOCKEDON. If you deposit $100, PrizePicks will give you $100. If you deposit $50, PrizePicks will give you $50. So don't forget to enter promo code LOCKEDON at sign up for an instant deposit match up to $100. Joining us now is the host of Locked On Warriors, Cyrus, Saatsaz, so you can find wherever you listen to your podcasts and on YouTube. Just search Locked On Warriors. And Cyrus, my goodness, were we just witness to an all-time NBA playoff performance. Truly, we may never see another talent the likes of Kevon Looney ever again, the way that he performed in that Game 7. No, I kid. I just, look, Steph Curry was sensational in this Game 7 to close out the Sacramento Kings. 50 points. He sets a career high for himself in playoff scoring with 50 points, and that is also now the new all-time record for most points scored in a Game 7. This was an all-time performance by Steph Curry.
Which is crazy for him, right? I mean, you think of all the people where you talk about, use that adage, that label, whatever you want to call it, an all-time performance. I mean, for Steph to pull that off at 35 too. Here's what I've been saying, and I don't know if you agree with this comparison or not, but I said this earlier in the season. I said this again early in this series, and I'm still saying it now. This Warriors team in a lot of ways reminds me of the 1998 Bulls. In the sense that the 98 Bulls, even though they had a much better regular season than the Warriors, no doubt, but they also were clearly the weakest of the 3 championship Bulls teams with that second run with Jordan. And they also, in the playoffs, I remember they had their only 7-game series of that entire run with Jordan in any of the 6 titles. They got pushed to a Game 7, and that was in the Eastern Conference Finals, not the opening round, but it was the first time where you kind of saw them weakening, and it made you wonder that even if they had come back to try to win a 4th straight championship, you don't know if they would have done it. You were starting to see them age a little bit. You were seeing weaknesses, and in a lot of ways, I kind of see that with this Warriors team. I think they can still win it all. They clearly have that. They proved to anyone out there who said experience doesn't matter, that's total BS. Experience absolutely does matter. I mean, look at the free throw count, and it affected even the Golden State Warriors to a certain extent. But man, dude, this performance was the reason why I bring up that 98 Bulls team is because this performance was Jordan-esque. It was a really I'm going to take over, and this is going to be about me, not anyone else. Everyone's going to remember this game for me, and of course, Kevon Looney and his 21 rebounds. So it was incredible.
Yeah, I mean, Steph had 38 shots, right? This wasn't, okay, he stepped up when he did. This was, he carried the team start to finish. Klay Thompson, 4 of 19 in this game. Wiggins, 5 of 16. Jordan Poole off the bench, 3 of 9. Like, this was not a pretty game at all outside of the Steph Curry masterclass. And then, again, as you already alluded to, Kevon Looney with his insane 21 rebound performance. He had 11 points. He had 4 assists to go along with it. Looney is the first player since Dwight Howard back in 2008 with multiple 20 rebound games in a playoff series. I mean, is it safe to say, Cyrus, that throughout this 7-game series against the Kings, of players not named Steph Curry, Kevon Looney would have had to have been the Warriors MVP for the series?
Yeah, I mean, in this series, absolutely. Because someone asked the question, and I've been doing some media stuff all day. Sorry, but like in one of the other shows I was on, the question came up like, who was the second best Warriors player in this series? I mean, it's pretty obvious who the first one is. And in last year's postseason, it was Andrew Wiggins. You could still make the argument for Wiggins because Wiggins, what he did today, even though you're right, he was 5 for 16 from the field. But he also really put a lot of pressure on De'Aaron Fox in this game on both sides of the ball. He's been defending Fox a lot at a very efficient clip. Before today's game, I think he was holding Fox to something like 35% shooting in a considerable sample size. It was like nearly 30 minutes of defending him. And so, he hassled Fox a lot defensively. But one adjustment that I was able to notice, and today was a hard game to actually pay attention to nuance, like, especially, I'm guessing for like someone not emotionally invested, you could feel the gravity of this game. But
there were the building, just the air, like it was so intense. This was everything you want a game 7 to be between two teams like this. Absolutely, man. Intense is, I think, the perfect word. It was very intense, and so it was hard to like kind of pay attention to the nuance. But one thing that did stick out to me, and some of my colleagues also pointed out that Kerr did make very subtle adjustments, like guarding the pick and roll, for example, defensively. But Andrew Wiggins, when he had the ball, he did not hesitate to go directly at De'Aaron Fox. De'Aaron Fox oftentimes was defending Wiggins. I don't know if that was the right move, but at the same time, it's like, who else are you going to hide De'Aaron Fox on if you're going to hide him? I don't know if that's the right word, but of all the players on the Kings roster, he was probably the biggest liability, despite how good he is offensively. So they oftentimes would put him on Wiggins, and tonight Wiggins was punishing him for that. Like, Wiggins never had or rarely, at least I don't remember him ever having a post-up game at Minnesota. He was a natural, true shooting guard, and now he's like turned into this power forward type player where even though he has the physique of a shooting guard, he's attacking the post a lot. And he was just going right at Fox, wearing him down, because lost in today's game. I mean, look, we're going to talk about Steph's 50 forever. I mean, that's historic. It's an all-time mark. But De'Aaron Fox, who has been absolutely lights out this whole series coming into tonight, was not great. I mean, he played 37 minutes, was 5 for 19 from the field, finished with just 16 points. And a huge reason for that was Andrew Wiggins, both defending him, and then when Wiggins had the ball, he was going right at him, like attacking him hard. And the effect of that was showing, because Wiggins is a very strong player. And next round, by the way, Wiggins is going to be guarding LeBron probably, and that's a whole other fascinating matchup. But to wrap it up for this question you asked, sorry to be so long-winded, Andrew Wiggins was their second best player last year. You might make the case he was again this series, but if you told me it's Kevon Looney, there's no argument, man, because that dude is just balling. I know you just mentioned next round there. Look, I mean, it's going to be, it's Steph Curry versus LeBron James, part 5. We've seen these guys duke it out in multiple different finals appearances. It was what, 4 years in a row there, right? Repeatedly over and over and over. And now they're doing it for the first time, both of them on the Western Conference side of things here. LeBron with the Lakers, Steph obviously still with the Warriors. What's your series prediction, Cyrus? The Lakers to me are a much better matchup for the Warriors. I'll say this for anyone who watches this segment and immediately laughs or disagrees. Throw away the regular season record. The Lakers won that 3-1. I think they won the last 3. In no way, shape, or form do those regular season games reflect reality between these two teams and who they are now and how they're playing and the personnel, because both teams were missing players every game. The Lakers made obviously huge moves that got better, whereas the Warriors were just injured for almost the entire year. The regular season for the Warriors is almost just a misnomer that we can't even really count. This is a whole different team now. I think the Lakers are a vastly superior matchup for the Warriors, meaning that it's easier for the Warriors. A player like Gary Payton II, who
who was even him, like GP2 to me is one of the best defenders in this game, but the Kings' athleticism and their speed was giving everybody problems, man. It's no wonder that team had the best offensive rating, I think, ever this season. I've heard a lot of people say that. I haven't done the research myself, but so I think the Warriors are going to be able to handle this Lakers team. And part of it is because Draymond Green has always been effective guarding Anthony Davis. That is like Draymond is salivating at that matchup. I guarantee you that. And Andrew Wiggins has very in an underrated manner, defended LeBron James incredibly effectively the last 2 years. And that's likely going to be the matchup for Wiggins. And I just don't know if the Lakers have the offense besides those two to cause enough problems. I know D'Angelo Russell is a great three-point shooter, but he's not going to face the same defense he faced in Memphis. This is going to be very different. He's going to routinely have hands in his face. And I think it's going to be Warriors in 5 or 6. I'm very confident that this will be easier because besides everything I just said, home court goes back to Golden State. It's incredible that the Warriors, despite a 44-38 record, finishing the season as the 6th seed, they're now essentially the 2 seed in the West. Just by winning this opening round against the Kings, because now they have home court, and it's going to play to their favor. They won 33 games at home this year. They only won 30, but they won 31 last year. So they actually improved that mark this season. They are strong at home. I know game 6 was ugly, but I'm going to say Warriors in 5 or 6. And that's an objective take. I would say that regardless of whether or not the Warriors are my team.
Warriors in 5 or 6. You heard it here first, folks. For a deep dive on this game and the upcoming series between the Warriors and Lakers, be sure to check out Cyrus over at Locked On Warriors. He will have you covered for everything. Cyrus, I appreciate you stopping by Locked On NBA with me.
I appreciate you, Jackson. Anytime, man. Thank you.